Monster Itch, Ghost Attack by David Lubar. Chapter 3. Sarah had recovered from her sneeze, but she was still bent down, reaching for the can of powder. "Ha, very funny," she said, not looking up. "Nice try, but you'll have to do better." Then she looked up. Sarah screamed. I grabbed her shoulder and dragged her toward the door. Halfway there, she started moving on her own. We both shot for the stairs. I looked over my shoulder on the way down, but nothing was following us. We didn't say anything more until we got to the bottom of the stairs. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it. "Was that?" Sarah said. "Did we really?" I said. "It couldn't be," Sarah said. "It had to be," I said. "Maybe we didn't see what we thought we saw," Sarah said. "There's a lot of stuff crammed in the attic," I said. "Maybe it was a mannequin or a reflection in a mirror." "Or a painting," Sarah said. I knew neither of us sounded very convincing, but a tiny part of my brain was already doubting I had really seen a ghost. "We need to go back to make sure," Sarah said. "No way," I said. I checked my arms. The blotches had faded away. That was weird. "Come on, we'll go up. We'll turn on all the lights. We'll look all around," she said. "Maybe we'll figure out what we really saw. Then we can stop worrying." Okay. I definitely didn't want to go back to the attic, but if she was brave enough to suggest we go do it, I had to be brave enough to go along with her. And she was right. If we found an explanation for what we'd seen, we could relax. It would be terrible to spend the week wondering what I'd run into every time I turned a corner or walked through a doorway. We went up the steps. I expected my arms to itch again, but they didn't. We found the switches and turned on both ceiling lights, and we each grabbed a flashlight from a box marked emergency supplies. We checked every inch of the attic. There was nothing that could be mistaken for a ghost, even if your eyes were dusted with vanishing powder. "Maybe it was real," Sarah said, "but why isn't it still here?" "I think we scared it off," I said. "You can't scare a ghost," she said. "How do you know?" I asked. She opened her mouth, and then she shut it. "We don't know anything about ghosts," I said. "I guess you're right." I backed away from the attic. "Let's go outside." I wanted to be in a place where a ghost couldn't sneak up on us. "Were you two wrestling?" Grandma asked as we walked past her on our way through the kitchen. We were playing ghost tag," I said. When we got outside, we walked across the field in the back toward the light creek that cuts through the property. My arms started to itch a bit more. I thought about how they'd itch when I first went into the bedroom and into the attic, and later they didn't itch, even when I went back to the same spot. An idea, a crazy, unbelievable, amazing, astounding, ridiculous idea tickled into my mind. "Sarah?" "Yeah?" "This is going to sound totally crazy, so promise you won't laugh," I said. "I might never laugh again," she said. "What do you want to tell me?" "I think I might be allergic to ghosts," I said. To my relief, Sarah didn't laugh. "I think the ghost might have been in my bedroom when I went there the first time," I said, "and then it wandered up to the attic when we all went to the bedroom. Maybe it doesn't like crowds. I think it was giving me the rash." "And you're not itching at all now?" Sarah asked. "I wasn't," I said, "until we got near the middle of the field. I think the itch is getting worse again." As I stared at the small blotches that dotted my skin, Sarah said, "That's it." "What's it?" I asked. "You're like a tracker," she said. "The itch is a signal. If we see where it gets weaker or stronger, maybe we can find the strongest spot and find the ghost and see if that's what it really is." At first, I was going to tell her that was a ridiculous idea. But after I thought about it, I realized she was right. That still left one question. Do we really want to find it? I asked. I glanced back at the house. It did sort of look creepy and spooky. So did the woods off in the distance, far beyond the creek. "It could be something else you're allergic to that moves around, like a bird or a mouse," she said. "It would be good to find out for sure." "But if it is a ghost, I don't want to find it," I said, "especially if I'm allergic to it." "Would you rather have it find us?" Sarah asked. I'm not at all that thrilled with either of those choices, I said. She put a hand on my back and pushed me toward the creek. Come on, it will be fun, like a video game. Hold your arms up where I can see them. Wow, that really is an ugly rash. We crossed the stream at a shallow spot, stepping on rocks so our sneakers wouldn't get too wet. The rash grew larger and itchier. Sarah's idea was working. Then after we'd walk a little farther, the rash started to fade. That was good, because I had a hard time keeping myself from scratching it. We're moving away from the ghost. Try going left, Sarah said. I did. The rash faded more. It has to be to the right, she said. I turned and realized I was facing an old barn. Sure enough, as I walked closer, the rash grew larger and darker and itchier. Please be a bird, I thought. Please be a bird, please be a bird, please be a bird. He's in there, Sarah said when we reached the barn door. No kidding. My arms were well past tarantula again and on their way to bobcat. I gave both arms a couple small scratches. We went inside the barn. It was empty, except for an old tractor and some rusted hand tools. No ghost. I would be really happy to spot a mouse right now, or anything else I couldn't see through. Sarah pointed to a ladder that led to the hayloft. We have to check up there. I guess. I followed Sarah up the ladder. The ghost was there. He seemed even clearer now, though he still wasn't solid. I could make out the small buttons on his shirt, the larger ones on the vest he wore over it, and the tufts of hair that were trapped by the strap of his visor. He drifted toward me. I shouted. Sarah screamed. The ghost fled over to the far wall, and then he paused, as if leaving the shelter of the barn scared him. A moment later, he went right through the wall. Nice going, Sarah said. You scared him off. I thought you didn't believe ghosts could be scared, I said. I changed my mind when I saw you scare it, she said. Me? I said. Yeah, you, she said, with that high-pitched scream of yours. I didn't scream, I said. I shouted. You screamed, she said. No, I didn't, and your scream is a lot louder and higher than mine, I said. No, it isn't. Yes, it is, I said. It's not, she said. I was about to reply, is too, when I noticed my rash was gone. Now there was no doubt in my mind. I was definitely allergic to ghosts, or at least to this ghost. Unfortunately, I knew there was nothing in the box for a ghost allergy. I took a closer look at my arms. They were still a bit blotchy. Maybe the ghost hadn't gone far away. Now what? I asked. We need to think about this, Sarah said. But not here, I said. Even though the ghost was gone, the barn was still dark and kind of creepy. Let's go to Graham's studio, said Sarah. I want to check it out anyhow. We walked to the garage, right next to the house. I watched my arms the whole time, but the faint blotches never changed. There was a room upstairs where Graham did his drawing. It had all sorts of paintings and sketches on the walls and a suit of armor in one corner. I just picked up the largest copy of Little Grandella from a bookcase next to Graham's drawing table when my arms started to itch. The ghost came right through the wall. He moved toward me. A shout rushed from my lungs to my throat. A hand clamped over my lips. My cheeks almost exploded as my shout got trapped inside my mouth. But this time, the ghost didn't flee. Instead, he reached out like we were playing ghost tag, for real. Sarah screamed right in my ear. The ghost didn't seem to be bothered by that. He put his finger on my arm. My skin felt like it was on fire. Sarah clamped her hand harder across my mouth. My arms were dark purple now. I was afraid my flesh would fall from my bones. I tried to pull free from Sarah so I could race away and stop the pain. No, Sarah said. Wait, look. She unclamped my mouth and pointed at my arm. Her eyes grew wider in amazement. I looked, and my own eyes grew wide. And naturally, I let out a shout. Or maybe it was a scream.